on the way. So the objective of this investor workshop is quite simple. The title says it all. The other alternative title is, don't you have better things to do? Meaning, not coming here, but meaning, you do the basics of money management and forget about it. Don't sit and stare at it. Nothing is going to happen by staring at it, reading blogs, unsubscribe from me, unsubscribe from us on Idea Level. Get out. Do something good. Do better things to do. Money will grow. So, and whose money is it anyway? Simply means, I don't care about anybody here. Especially your money. And that's why you're here. You're here because you are very sure that I'm not going to sell anything to you. So it's your money, your part. And யாராவது spread financial literacy சொன்னாலே ego ஆகிடுச்சு. I'm so sick of people saying I'm spreading financial literacy. Financial literacy cannot be spread and should not be spread. Let's be very clear on that. We want people to max their credit cards. We want people to pay only minimum balance in their credit cards. Then only your bank stock will grow. We want people to buy all junk products where there is no risk premium involved. Then only the corresponding stocks will grow. Financial literacy should not be spread. Let's worry about our money. The people buy stuff. That's not true. It's a very bad advice. You know, power of compounding. Oh, I have learned power of compounding. Any standard student should know power of compounding. There is a time in life that people should spend money. I think we should grow out of it. In the 18 years, 20 years, 25 years, people should spend money. Tell you, it's a phase. I think everybody, when you have money, you should spend it. That will do something. So let's not get so big ideas that we are here to spread financial literacy. Thank you. I have better things. Now, benchmarks for money management. When you attend a course, the first thing you ask is what is the syllabus. Whether you are a teacher or a student, the first thing you ask is what is the syllabus. So that you can know what is out of syllabus. Read it. When you attend a job, you go for a job, the first thing you ask is what are the terms of reference. What are the things I should do? What are the things I should not? So that you don't get fired. When it comes to money management, people never ask what are the terms of reference. What are the things I should do? I don't. They never ask this. The first time they get money in their life, they never ask. Every November, December, the mail from the accounts department comes. What did you do for ATC? They buy something. Randomly. They don't ask, oh, I am a parent, suddenly I realize, let's buy some child plan. Oh, I'm working now, I have to think about my retirement, let's buy retirement plan. That's how decisions are made. They're random decisions, completely random. Nobody cares about what's good for them. They don't buy personalized products. It's personal finance, but nobody cares about personal issues. They just buy stuff what other people are doing. Either money management is done like this, or it is done like that. Oh, 200 DMA partners are nifty movement, so let me also do it. He's doing something that I special. That's extreme. So we have extreme situations, but there are not many benchmarks. I have struggled to put 3. There actually only one benchmark. I made it to 3. We'll talk about this: insurance, inflation, and peace of mind. So we look at each of them. So the session, I'll be speaking in 2 sessions. In the morning, I'll talk about goal-based investing. In the afternoon, I will talk about investment risk, how to select mutual funds, and so on. Anyway, it's all together. So people don't worry about what is the need. Why am I investing in something? Why should I invest? Is it the right? Or what kind of product is suitable for my need? Then you look at the type of product and then you pick one from there. Instead of randomly choosing product, then you decide. You first buy a pension plan and then you go to a forum and ask, is it good? That's what people do. And I will missold. No. There is no such thing as mis-selling in the world. You're misbought. That's all there is to it. Right? If I am an LIC agent, I will guarantee 10% return and get money. I will have no qualms about it. No qualms about it. It's up to you. Keep the buyer, it's caveat emptor, the buyer will bet. So, tax planning should be incidental and not the first thing that people do. It's the first thing that salary people end up doing, and then they start getting interested in personal finance, but it should be the opposite. It should be the last thing that they do. The first thing is why invest? What is the objective? Choose the product suitable for that objective. Choose one product from that category which will save you tax. So it's incidental. So that's what we will call as whole-based investing. This is what Subra likes to give off, and that's why Warren Kelly, who is a creator of Pogo, he also made the old Disney movies. We have met the enemy, and he's us. What that means is, we are our biggest enemy when it comes to making money or creating wealth or whatever you want to call it. Our behavior. The base personal finance basics are extremely simple. Half a sheet of paper. That's all you need. So we'll start with inflation, then go to insurance. Insurance should be first, but we'll start with inflation since it's more exciting. Now this is the inflation numbers for my family from January 1995 to May 2014. I stopped after that I got bored. Notice that the overall inflation for my family, which is an extremely frugal family, they don't spend a lot, they don't go out, go to malls, do a lot of that. Very frugal family, the inflation is 8%. The overall inflation is 8%. Look at the inflation in vegetables, services, and so on, it's much higher. Much higher. So, these are actual numbers. If you put your own budget, take your own budget and calculate inflation for it, you may find something very close to this or even higher. This is the known reality that we are living in. Cost inflation index, what RBI tracks, they have nothing to do with the actual inflation index of your family. They're there's a big disconnect. There will be a 3 or 4% disconnect. If the cost inflation index is 6%, your actual inflation will be 10%. So things are not regulated. There's no regulation in India. Services are not regulated. We are dependent on monsoons. We don't have petrol or any other important resources which can drive our economy. We have to import. So please be aware that that's your number one killer. If you don't understand this, if you don't do anything to handle this, you will not have any wealth. You won't even have money to meet your goals. It's as simple as that. Stop me at any time if I'm going too fast. So let's say we'll do an example of a goal-based investing. Let's say I want something today. Today, the cost of that is 10 lakhs. If I have 10 lakhs with me today, I can buy it. No questions asked. If I don't have 10 lakhs today, I will have to postpone my purchase and invest for it. Agreed? Yes, we have to invest for it. So, but why we invest? The price of that commodity is not going to be the same. It's going to get inflated each year. Agreed? So, let's say what happens when the inflation is about 8%. You can notice that today the price is 10 lakhs. That's the first point on the bottom. You notice how the cost increases with years. Within about 7-8 years it doubles, triples and so on. It just keeps going rapidly up. We have to catch up with it. Right? How do you play catch up? You have to invest. Invest right. Now let's look at different ways of doing this. Are you familiar with this equation? Future is present times 1 plus inflation to the power years. That is the actual power of compounding that you should know. It's not your wealth. The power of compounding equation given is, see, if you invest for 10 years, 15 years, you will get that much. But that's all fine. But that's the actual form of the power of compounding. So the present cost will get inflated into something in the future. Why? the rate of inflation. That's your benchmark. Everything has got benchmark. What is a good return? How do I know how to define a good return? It's with respect to the inflation, which is in reality close to anything above 8% is what I mean. So now I'm going to show you slides of this form. I would like you to get used to it. So the current cost is 10 lakhs is 10 lakhs. The inflation is 8%. You are investing 6,500 rupees a month. And you are investing in something that will give you an average annual return of 12%. Let's assume post-tax. Or make it tax-free. Whatever, let's leave tax out. Is that alright? Yeah, are the entries clear? Please stop me if If you did that, your monthly investment value is the green line, and notice that it is increasing. As you invest, it increases, it's growing, right? Growing at the rate of 12%. At some point in future, the green line will cross the blue line. Yes? When it crosses, what does it mean? You are good to go. You have enough money from that point onwards to make the purchase of 10 lakhs. Or whatever was 10 lakhs when you started. Agreed? When it crosses, you have the intersection point. That's a red dot. It's a very bad red dot, but it's automated in Excel, so it looks bad. So, you understand what I'm saying? The cost of the product that you want to buy is increasing with years. You are investing to achieve or make that purchase. The investment value is increasing with time. At some point, the value of your investment crosses and grows, becomes higher. Are you comfortable with that? Yes, everybody is any problem? Because I'm going to show you similar slides. Next 5-6 slides are going to look identical. Is that alright? You have to be very comfortable. So, if you did that, it will take you 15 years to make that purchase. It will take 15 years of monthly investment of 6,500 rupees at an average annualized return of 12% to attain your goal. So, is that alright? Are you comfortable? Yeah, fine. So it will take 15 years. There are a couple of chairs here. Now, suppose you did not choose a product which gave you 12%. Suppose you got yourself an endowment policy or a money back scheme which gave you 6%. 6% is an exaggeration. I'm being kind. So 6% average annual return, 6,500, inflation is 8%. Notice that the green line never intersects with the blue line, which means you can never make the purchase. You have permanently lost money. Guaranteed income, sir. Peace of mind. This is the peace of mind. You will never make the purchase. This is the risk most people don't recognize. They only recognize the 200 points, not 200% tracker, 200 point drop in Nifty or whatever. They don't realize that is day-to-day volatility. That doesn't matter. What matters is, do you have enough purchasing power? Can you ever achieve your dream? I'm not saying LIC policies are bad. Sir, everybody is going to die. The fellow who invests in stocks, the fellow who invests in everybody is going to die. It doesn't matter. So it's a choice. I will invest only in LIC policies. Fine, it's your poison. Choose it. But make sure you invest more. The fellow who invests in LIC policies, they want guaranteed income, peace of mind, should invest more. From 6,500, the fellow should invest 11,000 rupees instead of 6,500. He should be investing more. Then he will meet the goal in 15 years. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at here? The point is, people don't do this analysis. The fellow can invest only 6,500, but he will still go for the same product. How many people can invest more? double, almost double, not many. People all recognize, everybody likes my calculators except one particular entry, monthly investment required. They don't like that at all. Something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. That's how standard math. No, you can't get it wrong. So, please make this simple analysis. That's why I said, analyze your need. Don't look at the product. Highest NAV guaranteed. Thank God those products don't come these days. From 10, the NAV will go to 10.001. So you get highest NAV of 10.001. Fantastic. You don't get them anymore time. So please recognize your need and the actual inflation in that. Can you tell me what is the inflation in educational expenses? Yeah, sorry, wrong question. 25%, 30%, maybe even 40%. Who knows? It's just random. You will wake up next day when your boy wants to write IIT JEE, IIT will suddenly decide we will increase it by 200%. When your boy wants to write, all of it went. Oh, like that. That's how it is. It's extremely bad. Actual inflation in terms of anything which requires services, whether it is education, marriage, anything. The inflation is 10% plus. I'm saying 10% to encourage people to invest. The actual inflation will be more. There are people who say, oh, anyway I will not be able to meet that goal. Forget it. The fellow will get along and do something. There are people who do that. So this is, so you have to invest more. So recognize now that the return is lower than inflation, and the difference is, let's say, minus 2%. 6% minus 8% is minus 2%. It is approximately equal to the real return. It's not exactly the real return, it's approximately equal. Now recognize that in this case, 12% return is not important. Getting alpha, having got alpha, everybody wants alpha. Alpha is only one component of investment. Notice here that the alpha is, in this case, plus 4%. Agreed? Approximately. 4% above inflation. Yes. Alpha is the approximately the excess return above inflation. Approximately. The exact formula is a little different, but the excess return above inflation in this case is 4%. In the previous slide, there was no excess, it was minus 2%. Now again the same situation, but the fellow says, I will not invest 6,500, I will invest 3,000 rupees a month. The fellow has got the positive real return. The alpha is positive. But he has not invested enough. So he can never make the purchase. So it's not about returns. It's about how much you invest. I can give you, somebody can give you 30% return. It doesn't mean you will have to, if you invest 10 rupees a month, you will get nothing. You won't create wealth. You will not achieve your goal. Right? You have to invest more. Then there's another time you say, I can invest only 1,700 rupees a month. It's Excel, it's very nice to play. The best financial pawn is found in Excel sheets. I can do anything I want in Excel. So I can invest only 1,700 rupees a month. So I will adjust the return so that number of years becomes 15. He will adjust it to 25%. I will adjust 25%. Then you will ask in Asana Days, what investment will give me 25%? What will give you? Nothing. Who will give you 25% return without risk? Right? So, equity will give you returns, but not when you want it to. That's the most mathematical statement ever expressed in English, I have found. So let's get back to this. So 6,500, the original statement I made. 6,500 a month, 12% return, 15 years, you will achieve the goal. Suppose you postpone it. Suppose you postpone the investing for 5 years. Then you will have only 10 years to achieve the goal relative to this. If you postpone for 5 years, you have only 10 years to achieve the goal. Then you have to invest more. If you postpone, what was 6,500 5 years back, now you have to invest 10,000 rupees to get the same goal in 10 years. So please start early. If you don't start early, you will have to compensate for it. I will tell you, postponement rate of the amount of the amount of investment needed every year, the rate at which it increases when you postpone is double the inflation value. For every year you postpone investing for retirement, specifically for retirement, you will have to invest 18%, 12% more every year. It will increase like that. That's a bigger enemy than inflation. Postponement, procrastination is a bigger enemy than inflation. Do whatever you can invest, don't do it. So, I've given you so inflation is the benchmark for long-term goals. For short-term goals, is not an appropriate benchmark, and we will talk about that. But that's all fine. Okay, you're doing this. What if your car broke down? What if one of your members were hospitalized or had a long drawn hospitalization? I mean, bedridden state and a lot of money. You need it. So you need to cover for it. What will happen then? You will draw on it. How will you ensure this goal is met? One, by investing more, by investing right. The third thing is to make sure you do not draw from this purpose. You do not interrupt the compounding. Whatever happens, you should not do your utmost best never to remove money. If you remove the money, you will never meet the goal. So that's where insurance plays a role. So this is the picture that I showed you at the beginning. So let's look at what it stands for. The first is death of the breadwinner. If the person who earns dies, his children, his or her children cannot go to school. Sorry. You understand what I'm saying? For certain aspects of personal finance is morbid. The more morbid you think, the better you can plan for your money. So, if the breadwinner dies, the children can't go to school. There's not enough money. So you need to have enough life insurance. Emergency insurance. Everybody gets emergencies. Emergencies means not things that you forget, but the things that happen without any, you just suddenly happen. Suddenly your car breaks, suddenly your appliance breaks, whatever. You need money all of a sudden. Health insurance. You need one, everybody needs one in addition to what your employer provides. Whether your employer provides. Suddenly it will be a recession and your employer will change the contract, terms of contract. They cannot even provide it. Get yourself an independent health insurance. You can ask questions about this. Later if you have specific questions about that, and you can also ask questions about the handout that I gave. Right? I don't want to discuss that. So I don't want to get into too much of this. Accident insurance is something that's important for every breadwinner who doesn't have a guaranteed job. Your job is not guaranteed. If they will send you home if you break a limb, get yourself accident insurance. There's no other option. Inflation insurance is what I just spoke about. You have to ensure your long-term goals with respect to inflation. There are two ways of doing this. One is all your long-term goals except retirement. There are people who say, "Sir, I will not save for my son's marriage. Let him look after it himself." There are people who do this. But when the time comes for the marriage, they will be tempted to take money from the retirement funds. There is a tendency, it's human tendency to spend. You can't. Can you avoid spending for your children's marriage? Then anybody will say, "I will not spend." Right? You have to spend some money, and what do? The first thing you will take is from the retirement funds. We take a loan from TFA. That's the first thing people will do. So just for that, just to ensure your retirement corpus is untouched, undisturbed, make sure you invest for all your long-term goals. Is that alright? Is this slide alright? So your retirement sits in the center. That's your first priority. What is retirement planning? When you stop earning, what do you do? Is there anybody here who will continue with the job if the employer tells you from now on your salary will not increase? Is there anybody here who will do it? The employer comes and tells you from today onwards, whatever salary you lost to, that will be your salary until retirement. Is there anybody who will continue the same job? No, right? But there are the same people will say, sir, what pension plan should I take? You want your salary to increase when you are earning. Why? You need your needs, your expenses. Right? Every month your expenses are increasing, so you meet it with your salary. As long as you are earning, you don't care. This salary, you are happy. What happens when you get it stops? Right? So that's the same logic. But if you are not happy with the constant salary, you should not be happy with the pension plan. So that's what a pension plan is. It gives you nice flat income every month. Whatever happens 10 years after retirement, it will come if you say inflation or not. It will increase your expenses. So that's the broad framework, and that's basically what's written there. It's a 3-act play. That's how I see it. There are 3 acts there. You think about it, you implement it, and you review it. Right? Much of that in the handout is given in short form here. That's all there is to it. There's not anything more about personal finance. Right? Everything else is related to this. Peace of mind. How do you ensure peace of mind? By not doing stupid things, by recognizing risk. So this is well, there are several elements to this. I don't want to, I can't talk about all of them right now, but I'll give you one. Do you know this equation? This is the power of compounding equation. The same equation which I wrote in terms of inflation, this is in terms of investment. So whatever you invest, this is for a lump sum, not for an SIP. SIP, the rules are different. For an investment, will become some corpus if it grows at some return for some years. Over some years. That's the power of compounding equation. Are you familiar with this? Yes? Can we? The same equation, most people look at it like this. Subramanian is going to say, you stole this idea from me. No, I did not. Those who attended Subbra's talk, you may recall that he wrote wisdom on the board. Well, I did not, so just tell him. So, this is how people look at it. Kitna milega? They don't look at anything. Return is the only thing that they focus on. Instead of that, let us try to control things that we can control. What is it we can control? We can determine when we start investing to a certain extent. To a certain extent. Not all the time, not everybody can control everything that happens in their lives, but to a certain extent we can. So, when we can invest as early as possible and how much we can invest. That is the sure shot wealth generation ticket. Those are things that is in your hand. You cannot control what happens to returns unless you buy fixed income products. You cannot control what happens to stocks. You cannot control. There's a lot of fussiness there. I think you should not. The more you worry about it, the more you will damage this equation. You will interrupt its compounding in more harmful ways than not. So focus on things that we can control. We invest as much as possible, as early as possible. That will take care of it. Now this standard power of compounding, I'm tired of, I'm going to call it power of non-compounding. The thing is, so if you keep investing, use that equation, you will see your value grow. No big deal. Just keep going. Whether you use 1% return or 10% return, the equation will look the graph will look the same. But what I would like to point out is that relative to your long-term goals, relative to your retirement, relative to goals which are 25 years, 30 years away, if you look at that thing in the box, there's not much difference between the investment and the value of the box. The red curve and the blue curve are merged within that small frame. Then it starts to pull out. So relative to the 20-year goal, relative to 20-year goal, what happens within those 5 years doesn't matter. Power of compounding does not matter for short duration. So don't bother taking risks. Stick to safe products or short-term goals or low durations. Anything less than 5 years, don't take any kind of risk. Stick with your feet. People will say, oh, you're doing so what? Only 5 years. Doesn't matter, nothing is going to change. You're going to spend that money. If you have a 5-year goal, in 5 years you're going to spend that money. It's going to go away. It's no longer going to be part of your equation. So why bother? So don't take any kind of risk. So even though inflation plays a role for 5 years, you cannot try to beat it by taking more risk in those 5 years. If you do it, you may end up not getting any return at all. You may end up losing money. So don't take risks for short durations. We'll talk about that. I don't like giving things like this, but others do so I have. 1 lakh grows at 8% for 20 years. You have 1 lakh, you invest it for 20 years at 8%. I think you have to come here and I can't let you stand. It's painful to see. You have the one seat here, one here, you can come here. It's very flattering. Come here, see, everything will look sold out. That seat will reserve for our class. Okay. So 1 lakh grows at 8% for 20 years, you get 4.7 lakhs. 1 lakh grows at 12% for 20 years, it goes to 9.6 lakhs. Is it alright? 2 lakhs are alright? So the difference between the two corpuses is 107%. 107%. People will be quick to find out, see, more the return, you get more money. That's not true. Look at this. That same 1 lakh, that should be 1 lakh. So 1 lakh grows at 8% for 5 years, it will go to 1.5 lakh. 1 lakh grows at 12% for 5 years, it will go to 1.8 lakh. The difference is only 20%. So the difference in returns is amplified by number of years you invest. And only by that. So it doesn't really matter. There is no need to take risk. Now, undue ವರ್ಷ input 11 and derivatives 11 and 12% return. Why do you want to take that risk? It's only that much more excess process for short term. Right? You don't need to take that much risk. When we say be happy, but it doesn't matter. At the same time, it will make a difference as time progresses. That's because of the exponent here. The years is to the exponent, the power law. That's why. Please, if anybody says it's 8 to under, 9 to under, oh God, it's real mathematics. Einstein is better things to do. The fellow has changed the law. It is a simple power law. You're going to call this the 8 wonder of the world? That is bullshit. People in the financial services talk a lot of bullshit. This is the number one. He has better things to do. This is power law. Okay, I mean, it's very fine. Now, this is what I would like you to do. Draw a line, or no, draw a line. Put your goals, your timeline. From now, years in some axis. Mark your goals. I want a car. I want to go on holiday. I want to start a business. Son's education, daughter's education, all that. Draw a line. And divide it like approximately 5 years. So approximate division. And anything less than 5 years, call it short term. Take no risk. Don't worry about inflation. Don't worry about tax. Do what you're comfortable with. Anything above 5 years, you need to worry about this. Worry about it doesn't mean as for 6 year goals I need to take more risk than. It's a very approximate division. Is this alright? Yeah, maybe. Now, couple of things. What is the time?
10.
Okay, please stop me at 10:15. Yeah, please stop me at 10:50. So we'll stop. You can ask questions in the middle if you want. We take questions later on. So, a few slides on retirement planning. I have given this in the blog if you have seen it. So, that's the monthly salary increasing from now down the line. Somebody is going to retire at 2039 or 2040, he's going to retire. That's how the monthly salary will increase. Recognize that it is stop like a switch when you retire. The day you retire, the monthly salary stops. Right? So, if you don't have money, you better be dead. There's no other choice. If you don't have money, you better die. Just pray, quit, otherwise it's gone. As simple as that. Look at your monthly expenses. Initially, this is the monthly expenses of a person who does not take on, there's no lifestyle creep. Do you know what lifestyle creep means? Today I have Apple i4, I get Apple i6, Apple i10, that's lifestyle creep. So this new product, you're missing out. Everybody has it, so you buy. That's lifestyle. There's no lifestyle creep here. The expenses that you have today is inflating at about 8%. Notice that initially or before retirement, the salary is much higher. Much higher. Comfortably the fellow can manage. There's no problem at all. But if you don't have money after retirement, you're in trouble. Now this is a small portion of the graph. If you expand the graph, it will be there. From 2040, another 20 years. From 60 years, let's say to 80 years. You can see the expenses are increasing, and about 15-20 years, it will exceed your last growth rate. It will exceed the last growth rate slowly. So you need money. If you go for a pension plan, which will give you a pension equal to lost down rate. No plan will give you that, but if you did that, you will be able to survive only for about 15 years. After that, your expenses will exceed the pension. Understand that? Arrow represents your constant pension. Right? But typically, pension plans are not like that. They are way smaller. They are like 1/3 of the last one. So, in about 5 years, 10 years, your expenses will exceed. Now, that's why you need the retirement planning. So, this is one type of a retirement plan. You need a corpus, the corpus, the green line. You need a corpus which is large enough. You allow the corpus to grow, but you keep drawing from it every month. Every month or every year you draw from it, annual expenses. Your retirement corpus, everybody understand what a retirement corpus is? There's no problem, is there? Yeah. So that grows at some rate, yes. Whatever money you are left with when you retire. That's all. Simple as that. You don't have any more income, you have money, that is the retirement corpus. Simple as that. No issues. Please ask. There is no problem. It's only you have to be on the same page. Otherwise, you're paid good money to be here, so you better ask questions. You don't. Otherwise, you're paying. So you have some corpus that's growing, and you draw from it every year. Recognize that initially you will be drawing little, so the corpus increases. Whatever corpus you had at retirement, it increases because you are drawing very little from it. But because of inflation, every year you will draw more and more from it for your expenses, to manage your expenses. So after some time, the corpus starts decreasing in value because you are taking money out. You need more money. And when the corpus goes to zero, is when you should be dead. You understand what I'm saying, right? You have some money, let's say that you have 1 crore today. The company has said goodbye to you, you have said goodbye to everybody, taken your box, put everything inside, come back home. You have 1 crore to start with. You have 1 crore to live. You have to manage with that 1 crore for the rest of your life. So you invest that 1 crore, The 1 crore increases because they are investing, right? It will grow at let's say 6%, 7%, it is increasing safely. So you are drawing money from it for managing your day-to-day expenses. With time, after 15 years, 10 years, whatever, you are drawing, you draw more and more because of expenses. And the more you draw, the corpus will come down. Initially it will be 1 crore, it will grow to let's say 1.5 crores, but after the chance it will down. Because you are drawing. And when it becomes zero, that's it, you can't be financially independent. So the idea of a retirement plan is to find out how much money you need so that this goes to zero after about 85. Let's say from 60 to 25 years. From age 60 to age 85, how much money you need for this? From that start at 60, that's 60 there, 85 there, goes to that. That's one way to do a retirement plan. There are many ways to do it. The first time people will see it, they will be appalled because the corpus will be 300 times the current annual expenses. Current means at 2040 at this point. And it will be 38 times the annual expenses at 2040. Typically, then these values will change. Typically, for the example that I have punched in, the numbers I have used, the corpus, that is, the corpus meaning, I have get up there. This value is 300 times the annual expenses here, and it is 38 times the annual expenses here. Approximately.
But you are looking at safe returns here, right? After
initially, when you plan for retirement, you should look at safe returns. Depends on money. See, the people come and say, look, I have 1 crore, I want more return. Sorry, I tell them you can't take more risk. You have, see, the amount of risk that you can take in retirement will depend on the corpus that you have at retirement. At the moment, you have to play it safe and assume you will not get too much at the moment.
But to this 38 times, what is the data you punched in? Inflation?
I think it's not. I don't remember. 8% inflation is what I always use.
And post-tax returns? So
I think it's zero real return.
Okay.
Say both sides. Both sides.
Sir, but when we
This
have
will change.
yeah.
when we have 38 times at 2040, the corpus, if we invest at a very safe return, suppose a bank FD of 8%, on the corpus remains flat, why should it decrease?
See, you're trying. See, you have one crore. That is growing. You kept it in a, let's say, a bank FD or a debt mutual fund where you can draw freely. In a bank FD, you cannot draw freely. Or let's say flexi deposit. That's easy. You can draw freely. It's growing. Part of it is growing, but some of it you're taking off. Every month or every year you're taking off, right? So it decreases. And the rate of increase, rate of growth of the corpus is more than the rate at which you take it to grow. If the rate at which you take is more than the rate at which it increases, it has to fall. Is that alright? You keep drawing more, so it has to fall. There's no other. Eventually, it will. Nobody can have. See, if you have a pension plan, then whatever that 20 lakhs.
Yeah.
20 lakhs, okay. It's extremely small, I don't know what I put it. Now, if you have a pension plan, you will take this money, put it in a pension plan, and that will give you constant income here. But that 20 lakhs will never go down in value. That fellow will take your money and play in the equity market. That's a different money. You will get only that much. Right? But it will not meet your expenses. Are you comfortable with this? Notice that the post-retirement income, those are the blue circles. Notice that the blue circles are within the red circles, they are matching. The post-retirement income is in line with the expenses, monthly expenses. That's the plan. That's why you need a corpus which will give you that much. It has to match. If it doesn't match, you're in trouble. I mean, you can have more income, but you have less your income. Is it alright? Can we move on?
Sir, is there a way where we can increase the corpus, the reverse of this graph can we make it after 2040? Is there a way how to make a corpus increase?
That's what he had asked me. I'm saying, how far away are you from retirement, ma'am? Approximately.
Around 10 years more.
10 years more. You worry about that? 10.
So at that time, I have to take a decision how to.
You worry about it then. As of now, you focus on increasing the corpus. Don't worry about I told you this is only one way to do a retirement plan. There are many ways to do it, but we cannot do that now. You take conservative estimate now, you worry about it that time. It's too early.
So one more thing, Patu, is people say they look at 2015 and say this is my expense, and if this monthly expense grows at certain inflation, by the time I retire, my kids are out, all those things are out, my blue line might fall down. That's what a lot of people anticipate.
But blue line increases because of the inflation, right?
So what he's saying is,
No, the kids may go out, but the grandkids come in. To maintain your status, you need to spend for your grandkids.
grandkids vanda paravailla sir. I will give you other விஷயம் sir.
Grandkids
வேற ஏதாவது வரும் ஜாதி வரும் grandkids vanda paravailla. I will tell you my mother draws a comfortable pension. It's an indexed pension. Nobody gets it these days. It's a government pension. Two pensions. She has her own pension and family pension. Both of them are indexed to the dearness allowance. Twice a year she will get dearness allowance. The rate of increase for that is, I calculated, is close to 11.5%. Which is spectacular. You cannot even generate a pension plan that increases 11.5% a year. You cannot do that. She gets that. It's very comfortable. But 10% will go to tax. Gone. Out of that 90%, 80% is used for, not 80%, let's say another 20% goes for medical expenses. Almost the rest of the money goes for the hired help I have at home to take care of. So I said, grandkids are not all. You don't want this kind of nonsense. So the entire pension that she gets, which is growing at 11%, is used to take care of her health. Post-tax, 10% goes to tax. The mistake that people do, this Patu is an idiot, along with Subha, they are saying invest more. When I retire, I won't have this expense, I won't have that expense, I won't have... Please, life will find a way to fuck you. Find a way. வாழ்க்கையில கஷ்டம் வரதும் நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க சார். நான் பிளான் போடுவோம். People sooner or later, something will happen. Don't assume that things will get better down the line. That's the worst financial planning mistake you will ever make. Always plan for a little more. What are you going to do if you have a little more wealth? Are you going to throw it away? And it's just a margin of safety. Stock investors know what that means. Margin of safety. That's extremely important in finance. Don't make the mistake of assuming. The only thing you can assume is you will not be paying for your school education. If they are still in school when you retire, please disown them. There's no other choice. That's a safe thing that you make. You will not be paying for that 2 lakhs, whatever that pre-KG, whatever school tuition, those expenses will not be there, right? They say, no, I won't be traveling every day 25 kilometers. You will be traveling to the clinic every day to visit the doctor. Life will find a way to balance it out. That's why I told you, grandparents are delighted, but that's only one. That's a possibility that happens for a few people, not for all. So please don't make a mistake. Yeah.
See, like if we, for example, in a month, if I have to spend a lakh rupees, okay, so that if I am maintaining a bank FD or something like that for 1.2 crores or something like that, okay, so I am going to get approximately maybe 10 lakhs or 12 lakhs per year. Out of that, I am going to draw 1 lakh, so that my entire stable corpus is going to stay, right? Because this.
First, you have to pay tax.
I'm talking about post tax. Just assume that.
Post-tax, sir. Bank won't give you.
No. I'm simply saying to whether I can maintain the corpus as such, unlike it's coming down, right? So
You can maintain it for some time. I'm not saying you can never maintain it. See, initially it will look very nice. Initially, your expenses will be only 30,000. Your drawing power from the corpus, from the fixed corpus, will be much higher. But down the line you will have problems.
So the inflation coming.
Slowly it will eat. Cost of tea, cup of tea, please calculate today the price of tea. When was the first time you had tea in a tea stall? First time you had tea, 2.5 rupees, 2 rupees, maybe 1.5 rupees also. For that money, find out the rate at which it has increased. It will be 12% minimum. That is how much it's. What will happen? See, sir, my grandparents married, my parents managed. This is one standard statement. Why should I do? Why should I take more risk? You know how people manage. They will slowly cut down their expenses. You will never know it. Where they'll be going in auto, they'll start taking the bus, then they'll start walking. They'll slowly manage, just like the human body, you will never know. Many people don't know they have diabetes. Because the body can adjust. Slowly the metabolism will adjust so that you will not even know. And they go for life insurance first, right? It's well CDP. I don't have diabetes. Actually, you will have. You will never know this. So people adjusted. Those days they didn't have enough money. They just didn't want, they were too proud to say it out. They adjusted their lifestyle. Do you want to reduce your lifestyle? Can you stay without this thing that you are scratching? The mobile phone, I don't have it. Mobile phone you scratch all the time. Can you stay without 3G when you retire? Please ask yourself. Technology is only going to go bigger. When you retire, it will be 15G. It's an appropriate scam.
But to act on the how previous generations possibly also managed, right? If you look at our own investments right now, PAN is only mandatory for the last 8 to 10 years or so, right? So previous generations actually had access to debt funds that were reasonably tax free, right? I mean, a lot of them actually did not pay taxes if you really look at it. So putting into banks at 9-10%, they were actually getting it tax free 20-25 years back, even 15 years back, right? So this kind of corpus that we're looking at, people are actually able to have access to that, but right now we can't do that.
Even the PPF rates were 12%,
12 and
15 years back.
Your property value now they are increased. 10 years back, you don't.
Already know. When you want money, the fellow stays in it.
But one more thing I just wanted to add on this corpus thing, right? So let's say you have a 1 crore corpus, right? And then let's say you get a 8% tax free return, right? So the first,
Switch it up.
okay. So the first year when you, assuming your post-tax return is 8 lakhs, right? On the first 1 crore you get 8 lakhs. You get 8 lakhs, you break even, right? So next year your expense goes up 8%. So your return is only 8 lakhs next year, but then your expenses will be like 64,000 more, right? It will be 8.64 lakhs actually. So your corpus has come down from 1 crore to like 64,000 lower, right? And then that fall will actually compound. As you go down and down, your expenses will go up, your returns will be constant. So that's where you kind of survive for some time, but then it starts falling off.
It starts with. At that point, it will be a pinch.
Will it be possible to compute in such a way that at least instead of taking a corpus of 1 crore, putting it in like 2 crores?
See, everything can be done in Excel. I have done it. See, what happens is all this. There are many youngsters who read blogs, US blogs, who retire. There are fellows who say, I have alpha, that is excess return of 4% in retirement for every year. How can you take so much risk? And the fellow says, he is only 35, he will retire at 35. From 35 to age 80, he wants to plan with an alpha of 4%. The kind of risk involved will be enormous. I can do everything. There is something called a perpetuity. If you type in Google called perpetuity, perpetuity means the rate at which you draw will be equal to the rate at which the corpus grows. So your corpus will be steady. I have a calculator for this. Please, start practicing.
But yeah, one question, like, is that something like safe withdrawal rate or something? Because normally
That is nonsense, just garbage. People who don't have, this is nonsense. See, a standard retirement calculator, if you look at the initial withdrawal rate, you know what withdrawal rate means? First year's expenses divided by corpus. For a standard retirement calculator, it will be 4%. What? if the inflation is like for us 8%, 9%, the withdrawal rate will increase. It will soon be 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25%. I have a calculation, I have a graph which shows this. So this concept of safe withdrawal rate is completely flawed. There is no safe withdrawal rate at all for the kind of inflation we have. Right? So when you want to plan for retirement, so your goal should be to start here. Now look at the purple line, the growth of investment. So to start investing, so that at 2039 or 2040, you are able to reach that purpose. The money you invest, you put in every month, it should grow and it should reach that amount, that purpose that I should. That's your retirement plan. Now, this is the same graph but drawn in logarithmic scale. Notice that that's why I've drawn it in logarithmic scale, so that exponential thing looks linear. Look at the monthly expenses, that's increasing. Now that's the monthly investment required. Look at this. Initially, the monthly investment required is much higher. In today, this is your monthly expense. The monthly investment required to attain that goal is much higher. Not many people can do this off. After their salary increases, they can, but not initially. So what do? We plan such that the monthly investment increases at some rate. Right? When you do that, let's say this is a 10%. Salary increases at 10%. Is that right? No? Okay,
15%.
3% is the increment I get. It's terrible. So, okay, 10% on paper. So this is I calculated for 10%, but you can punch in your relevant numbers there. So you can now notice that it's more or less close to the monthly expenses. My thumb rule, which is impractical for most people, but I managed to pull it off, is if I spend X per month, I invest X for retirement. That's my margin of safety.
This X should exclude the year that we can't get paid.
So anything that will not persist in retirement, hopefully, should not include anything. So my thumb rule is that it's a very safe thumb rule. What are you going to do with excess? Of course, there will be some excess wealth, but that's fine. Let it go. That's a thumb rule, but most people cannot put it up. I'm sure of that. So if you did that, it will look like this. So you have a monthly salary. It looks nice. You are investing as much as you are spending. You see that? You are investing as much as you are spending. What is missing in this picture? Lifestyle green. Your expenses will look like that. In Excel, it looks nice and curved, but your expenses will look like the green line. You have some expense, suddenly you want to increase your lifestyle is that, and that, second house, second car. All the practical realities that we have. If your lifestyle is increasing that much, at that rate, you will have to cut down when you retire. And it's impossible to plan if you're going to live that kind of a lifestyle with many people. That's a problem. So lifestyle treat is a big danger, you can't handle it in Excel sheet. Okay, I'm actually running behind schedule. Speaker for 10:30. So stop me in 20 minutes.
I can start this and I can
So now let me do a retirement planning exercise in Excel straight. How many of you use this sheet? The low stress retirement? So few of you have. Now to reduce the monthly investments. People say, I read your blog, very nice blog, but I have sleepless nights. You have some stupid calculators which says I will invest 1 lakh a month. What nonsense, I can't do it. So I'm doing my best to reduce the monthly expenses, but in ways. So let's do a retirement planning exercise and how to manage different goals. So current monthly expenses that will persist in retirement. We'll put it as 40,000. That will persist in retirement. Okay? And school fees will not persist. Anything that is guaranteed not to persist, those EMIs. So average annual expenses. Annual expenses means AMC costs, car breakdown, energy. Usually I put it as extra months expense. So you are now planning for 13 months. It's a simple taboo. So 13 months divided by 12 will give you approximately 43,000 a year. 43,000 a month. I suggest inflation before retirement as 8%. Anything below that is dangerous. There are financial planners which will do it for 6%, but that's... See, financial planners cannot afford to say, sir, please invest more. ஏற்கனவே யாரும் வரமாட்டேன் அவன் இவங்க இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணா போதும். Anything can be done in Excel. If you put 6% inflation, your monthly investment will come down. So, but it's not practical. 8% is the minimum. If possible, keep it 10%. What I did was, I could not manage 10% inflation when I started for retirement planning, but today I can, so I put 10%. So it's also dynamic. Please recognize, before I forget, this exercise has to be done every year. Every year. Otherwise it's useless. It's not the do it once and forget it thing. Unless you use a retirement plan every year, don't use it. It's not from here. So let's assume it's a 35-year-old. Fellow wants to retire at 60. Anybody here wants to retire only at 60? Not before? No, you're...
I wanted to retire at 35, got married at 35.
So, the point is that people want to... See, the reason I say that is, people want to retire early. But they must understand that they must invest more to compensate, make sure they have enough corpus. So let's assume the fellow will live up to 60, 20 years of post-retirement time.
But also, not all professions have this luxury of choosing that I want to retire at 60. You might be forced out at 50.
Is that you are assuming profession like assuming the fellow will have good health until 60 to keep earning a salary. That's the assumption, which is a big assumption, very dangerous assumption. So we have to assume that. Available for investment 22 years to retirement. The monthly expense when you retire will be close to 3 lakhs. That's a huge, 8%. What was 43,000 as an average annual expense will compound to 3 lakhs in 25 years. It's a huge amount of money. It's will be 20, now you will spend 20 years in retirement. So from age 60 to age 80. I'll recommend the same inflation. There are people who say India will prosper, I would say, account to 5-6% so I don't trust all this. It will always, whatever inflation today, the real inflation is 10-12%. I assume it persists down there when we become grandparents. Maybe it will, but the point is, on paper you don't plan. On paper you don't take the risk of assuming that it will. Right? Don't make that mistake. Now, this is the most crucial entry. The post-tax average return from the entire retirement corpus is assumed to be 8%. This is the minimum that I ask you to keep. 8% inflation, 8% post-tax return from the entire portfolio. This is slightly on the higher side. Okay? So you are taking a little bit of this to make sure that the real return is 0. There is no real return, whatever inflation is left. For now, you set it to be a low number. I prefer 6%. Post-tax FD, I'll put it at 6% right now. I'll invest later at different days, but now I would prefer 6%, but let it be 8% to be unfair. I don't want it more demotivated. Now, total corpus required will be about 7 crores, 7.1 crores on paper. Whatever graph I showed you, right? The corpus will increase and then it will die down. That kind of corpus, the starting corpus will be 7 crores. But hold on.
That's 7 crores at the age of 60.
But hold on. We will assume post-tax return expected from post-tax return. I don't know. Assume it's post-tax from equity is 14%. This is for me extremely high estimate. I will not go beyond 10-12%. 10% is what I would prefer from you. It keeps me calm. I don't worry what happens. I'll be happy with 10%, but we'll keep 14% just to. Anything above this is madness to expect. What happens You may get, suppose Subra may have got 30%, but that doesn't mean you will get it. Don't make that mistake. It's a very serious, big mistake to assume more. I will take more risks, I will dynamically asset allocate. Now, based on that, please don't make that mistake. Now, post-tax, there are we'll have two kinds of debt instruments. Debt instruments are fixed income instruments. I'll use them, use those two terms. So, fixed income instruments which are taxable. Fixed incomes. They are taxable. Tax-free fixed income instruments, ETF, LIC policies. That's the only one good thing about LIC policies. Nice, tax-free. So you assume 6% as the taxable post-tax return and 8% from the tax-free debt. Again, these are on the higher side, but we will use them. Now we have to calculate whatever value of equity that you have, mutual fund, stocks. Just assume it's only 1 lakh. 1 lakh in taxable debt, 1 lakh in tax-free debt, and we will assume that lump sum benefits at retirement, assuming they give you some, is 5 lakhs. Whatever you call it, gratuity, leave encashment, whatever thing that I don't know. 5 lakhs. We'll assume it's 5 lakhs. And then, if you are young, don't take too much of it. Take 1 or 2. Now your monthly mandatory PPF ETF contribution is 18,000. Oh, somebody has that. Because that rate by somebody. Annual increase in this contribution. You can. I will share this sheet with you after after the talk, so you can punch in your own numbers. Annual increase in this contribution 5%. You said 3%, so put 3%. Your EPF will increase each year, contribution increase 3%. Expected rate of return 8%. Now, these things, all the equity, tax-free debt, taxable debt, all these guys will compound for the next 25 years. Your EPF corpus will compound, and it will reduce the actual corpus required. You need 7 crores, but whatever net worth that you already have will compound, and you will now, the net corpus to be accumulated is only about 3.18. So it's about half, it's reduced to half, it's significant. I hope you are following this. Yes? Is there any problem? If you have questions, please ask.
If you don't withdraw.
Tomorrow, if you get some disease and you want, that's gone. There's no question, right? See, the best financial report is found in Excel. Everything looks good. On paper, this is so net corpus is 3.18 crores. That's our target. We have to achieve this target. Now, this is only. Now, what we'll do is to find out the monthly investment required. So we'll assume that we are allocating 70% to equity, whatever we are going to invest to achieve this target. 70% to equity, the rest to debt. If you did that, the net return, the net portfolio return will be 12%, which is actually quite high. The net portfolio return, if you get from equity itself only 12% from next 20 years, I think you should be pretty happy with it. But on paper, this is high, but let's play. So if you invest 70% in equity, giving you 14% return, and in debt 10% and 20%. The monthly investment required is about 7,000 rupees. It looks nice. Yes. Many people can pull it off. But he's got 18,000 rupees EPF, so which means that he's recognized that. So it looks nice on paper. Let's play with this. You can put your own numbers later. 7,000 is one. Now we have to plan for other goals. I will do just one. Then I don't want to run everything through. So this 35-year-old guy has got 2 children. A son and a daughter. The daughter is elder. So he first plans for daughter's education. He doesn't believe in all this Sukanya thing. Sukanya means you are interested more in marriage. He wants to educate the child first. So the daughter goes to school 12 years away. It is 12 years away to go to college. Sorry, he is now in school. 12 years to graduation from school. 25 lakhs present cost for education. Is that fair? Depends. Fair. What education?
Depends.
That's why I'm asking.
Can be 5 lakhs or 5 crores. Depends.
This is the problem. See, this is a big problem. Only enna pannuvaanga theriyadhu. They become hippies for all we know, which is very good. It is very good. Namak chalavu vicharam. But we don't know. This is a very dangerous thing. What I did was, I adjusted this 25 lakhs so that the future cost when my son graduates becomes close to 1 crore. I think he has to handle. I don't. This is all I can do. There is a lot of uncertainty in this. Right? I mean, there's only so much you can clear. This is only an example. Please assume it's 25 lakhs. 10% inflation is the minimum. Preferably 12% in education. 10% is the minimum. Rate of return expected from the entire portfolio 12%. Little high, but inflation. So this 25 lakhs will, by the time the daughter graduates school, it will become 78 lakhs, 78.5 lakhs. The amount invested so far is 5 lakhs. That will grow, let's say, at 8%. It can go higher, but let's say it grows at 8%. That will contribute about 12 lakhs in future, or nearly 13 lakhs. Now you are assuming that whatever you are going to invest, you can increase this investment 10% each year. Sambalame 3% that increase every month. No, you can do that. I mean, I'm saying whatever you can afford. So the monthly investment will be 12,000 or 12,400. Now you do it for all the goals and you write down a summary. There are other goals on the left, I didn't go through that. Excuse me, I just need to scroll up. Best way to give an audience a headache is to scroll up and down. So now we have a summary. So we have done planning for all the goals. Retirement, daughter's education, son's education, daughter's marriage, son's marriage, some other goal 5. Yeah, more goal. Area 350. Keep it. So those are the 6 goals that we have, with retirement being the primary goal. So the total monthly investment required per month for all those goals is 49,000. Most people cannot, even the fellow who is getting 18,000 rupees drawn from EPF cannot handle this because he has got a much higher lifestyle. Right? So what do you There's something called a unified portfolio. I'm not sure how much time I have. 10-20 minutes. Okay, I'll quickly finish this. See, what people do is, it's not something I recommend, but for people who cannot handle this much money, 49,000 rupees, and now investment, they can't do this, it's too high. What we do is, we say that you have a single portfolio. It's like a bucket. Imagine a bucket with a tap at the bottom. Right? There's a bucket, you're going to fill, that's your investment, you're going to fill the top of the bucket, there's a tap at the bottom. So that is your unified portfolio. You keep filling the bucket every month, whatever you can invest. Whenever the time for the goal comes, you open the tap and take some money. Is it alright? The bucket keeps filling, it keeps growing. Whenever there is a time for your goal, you open the tap, take some money. What should be the final amount of water or amount of cash in the bucket when all your goals are exhausted? It should be equal to your retirement costs. In this case, it's 3.2 lakh, 3.2 crores, sorry. Right? So what we do is to have this kind of a cash flow. It looks good on Excel, but don't take it. So, sorry, I have to do a little bit of scrolling down. So that's your year.
How does that unified portfolio then get? What does really matter? Right? You put it in one single bucket or
Just hang on. Excel macros with this. That's not. So we have that's a year monthly investment. You see, the monthly investment is growing at 10%. Every year, monthly investment is growing. You can invest if you want. Let's say after 5 years, my EMI will be over. Then I can invest some more. You can have some more entries like this. Additional investment down the line, you can punch in some numbers. So the first goal is 6 years away. The corpus is growing. The first goal is 6 years away. After 6 years, you withdraw that much money. The corpus drops. Then 12th year, you withdraw some more money. 40th year you withdraw some more money, 20th year, 22nd year, and finally 25 years when you're age 60, your final corpus value should be 3.2 crores. If this is my scenario, what should be the amount of investment that I should make so that I'm able to pull this off? If you calculate this in Excel, there's a macro here, click that. I'm going to do it now. What was 49,000 will decrease to 33,000. Now I can make this reduction by 50%, 100% and show how big a magician I am in Excel, but that's nonsense. Reasonable numbers, you can reduce it by 10 to 20, 30%. If you have a unified portfolio, instead of separate portfolio for retirement, child's education, child's marriage, independent portfolios, one portfolio, it's like a bucket with a tap, you keep pouring water, whenever you want to open it. Is that what you? Are we on the same page? You understand this? It looks good, but what is the risk? If you look at this graph, it will give you a slightly. So you can see how the corpus will grow. Can you see why the corpus dips? Corpus dips when you draw. The goals, whenever there's a goal, you draw from the corpus. See, the corpus almost went to zero at year 15. Nearly, not exactly. And it grows. What is the risk? If I have 5 goals: retirement, sons educate, two children, their education, their marriage, one more goal. I have all these goals. I'm uniting them into a single portfolio. What is the risk?
Retirement goals is this.
No, that's your farthest goal.
Yeah, but your other goals get more priority than that.
Depends.
No, it is right because you'll be drawing down. Like even at some point in time, I may have a 5-year goal of buying a car, but in this unified thing, I'll just draw down.
Prefer that you don't put it ahead of retirement.
No, but that's what will happen, right? If you use this.
No, the risk here is that you are assuming volatility. The net portfolio grows at 12%. And you are using it for 5-year goals as well as 15-year goals as well as 20. Irrespective of the duration, you are using the same net portfolio. Assuming that a 5-year goal will grow at 12% return is extremely risky. So I would prefer that you don't use this strategy. It's not a terrible strategy, but use it only for long-term goals. Separate the short-term goals, anything 5 years or anything even less than 10 years, don't touch this. It is a way for you to reduce your the amount you need to invest. Bluntly speaking, it's a way to motivate you to get started. You can make it little, that looks nicer. But please recognize, it's all on paper. Everything is on paper. So I would prefer, personally, I don't like this strategy. I keep every corpus separate because for me, my retirement, the risk associated with I can take much more risk for my retirement than my childhood. I do not like to take the same amount of risk. I will rebalance often, I will pull out things from equity often for my childhood. That's how I plan. But this is a way to get started. Down the line, when you feel comfortable with equity, when you feel comfortable investing should become a habit where that's the first thing that you do each month when you basically start. Once it becomes comfortable, you can always change that. This is something to get started. Don't take this too seriously. So I like to stop now. I will come back to you. Any questions? Couple of questions.
This 7 crore, what will be the today's value? What will be the today's value?
You need to calculate. It should be about. Retirement planning is counterintuitive. If you retire early, the corpus record is lesser.
Because it takes the value up. So it's simple, use the rule of 72 if you want and work backwards. So if you are going to be 10 years earlier in timeline today, so use it that way. This is, I think he's talking about 24 years.
No, he wants to know if he wants to retire today, what will be the corpus record?
And today he's 60. I mean, right in that?
No, let's say 35 hours. I'm just
Which means your years in retirement will be longer.
Then you need a much bigger corpus.
No, actually it will be small. It will not be as much because it will be drawing lesser. It will be drawing lesser. There is a post on this. where it actually says the same thing. If you retire early, you need less.
Okay.
But I mean, you can calculate it. How much money